Hey friends, welcome back to session 4. We're going to talk about an unexpected pregnancy and unpack a little bit of that. But to get us started, mentors can help by thinking through the patterns and available decisions of women and men. So while circumstances vary, the thoughts, perspectives, and responses are actually pretty common. And what I would encourage you to do is just not be naive when you are like, gosh, this just does not pass the smell test, or it just doesn't seem like I'm getting all the information. Just do a little bit more detective work, ask some more questions, and be open and transparent about that of, hey, this just doesn't sound right. It's not all adding up to me. Can you help clarify what you mean when you say, right? And so that way you're digging in a little bit, you're showing that you care, you are applying a little bit of pressure to make sure that somebody's being honest and truthful with you, but at the same time, you're being loving, you're being kind, and you're available to help where you can help.
So what we want to talk about is, what does it mean for someone to be in an unexpected pregnancy? So before, we've been talking about, kind of some theoretics around being pro-life, what is abortion, and you're thinking, okay, I signed up to be a mentor. So what does that look like? So we're going to finally start to get really into the nuts and bolts of that. And so when we're talking about someone in an unexpected pregnancy, we like to use just kind of the thought process of, what is it like for them to be in a storm? And so when you're looking at this picture, you see all these different clouds. But what I want to talk about is, when you're in an unexpected pregnancy, what kind of storm is this? And so you might think, is this a hurricane? And with a hurricane, traditionally, it's coming. You see it on the news. They're saying, hey, it's going to hit at this time. If you want to leave, this is the way you're going to get out of here. This is what you need to do to get prepared for this storm. But we want to say it is not a hurricane, it is a tornado. And so a tornado often comes quick, fast, hard, and devastating. And so that is what kind of storm your mentee is in, probably, is in a tornado.
Yeah, you may even meet a mentee who is several months pregnant. And you're like, gosh, you've not made any choices. You've just been stuck in this moment where you haven't planned anything, you haven't done anything, and maybe now you're 6-7 months pregnant. It's like, good grief, like you're almost about to deliver this child. Like, why haven't you thought through housing or employment? And you still have to step into that kind of tornado environment and go, hey, let's talk about what you're going to do. Let's start to put a plan together. Let's think about the contributing factors that are involved.
Right. You might run into someone that is that far along, and I just want to say denial is powerful, and fear can shut someone down. And so she may have been in a state of fear and denial, and that is why you are finally entering in at the late stage in the game, but that is okay. We are going to be equipped to do that. So when you are thinking about an unexpected pregnancy, there's going to be 3 thoughts and beliefs that she might be asking herself that is important for you to be thinking through with her as well. So she's going to say, how do I view myself as a woman? Am I a giver of life? Is this a gift? Is this a baby? Or am I going to be asserting my rights? Is it my right as healthcare?
Yeah. I think the thing that comes to me as a father of daughters is who spoke into her life early on and said, like, hey, like, you're going to be a mom someday. Is she prepared for that reality at all? Does she understand how her body works?
Is it seen as positive?
Yeah. Or were you a burden? Were you seen as weak? Were you in the way? Those kinds of things that she's now wrestling with as a young adult.
Absolutely.
And processing on top of being pregnant.
Absolutely. Second thing she might be asking herself is, how do I view the preborn? How do I see this baby? Is this a clump of cells? Is it something that is expendable? Is this a gift? Is this a person?
Yeah.
Or, is this something that is just I can get rid of
nuisance?
and move
Gosh.
on without any consequences? Another is, what is the man's role? Is he involved? Does she know who he is? Is that a positive relationship? Is it a negative relationship? Where is he on this? Does he even know? But I think it's clear to say that if she were to make an abortion decision, that he has actually no legal right in that decision. And so the next thing we want to talk about is the 4 aspects that shape thoughts and beliefs. And so these are really important to think through as you're getting to know her, is our faith. Our faith affects our thoughts and beliefs. And so, does she have a faith? Who is God to her? Has she considered God in her situation? The other thing is, what is in her best interest? If she's a student, she may not think that having a baby right now is in her best interest. If she is a mother of 4 kids already and she's struggling to support them and feed them, this baby might not be in her best interest. If she is a career woman on a career path, this baby might not be in her best interest. And so when she's thinking about her future and she's envisioning what this baby is in this future for her, what does that mean for her? The third is cultural narratives. Cultural narrative is, what does the culture say to her? What are the things that she has been watching, movies, TV, things that she listens to? What does that say about being a mother? Is it positive? Is it that something that's going to be good for her, or is it something that is negative? And we all get that cultural input day in and day out, whether we even realize it or not. And then the fourth is a past experience. And I think that kind of goes back to what you were saying, Bruce, is what has her family taught her about what it means to be a mother? Has she had a good experience with her mother? Has she had a good experience watching people parent? Or is that negative for her? Is that scary for her? Does she have a history of abuse or neglect? Or, is she experiencing trauma right now? So these 4 things really are going to affect what she's thinking about. Hey, I just found out I'm pregnant. What am I going to do?
And I think you as a mentor just want to have this conversation in a very casual way in the first couple of meetings that you might have. It's not a, hey, tell me about your faith. Hey, tell me about, what you think is in your best interest. Or, what movies do you watch and what books do you like? Back off just a little bit.
I think just tell me your story.
Yeah.
I would love to know a little bit about you. Your radar's going to go up. You're going to be picking up on all of these things without you asking her directly. And that's going to be part of just being a really great listener.
Yeah. So that's my encouragement to you is think through not just how these aspects shape her thoughts and beliefs or his thoughts and beliefs, but be a friend. As you're stepping into those conversations and as you're just asking for clarity and not just going, wait, like you said this, would you clarify that for me? Because that didn't quite add up with maybe something else. Or maybe you just didn't fill in the blanks because you didn't think that was an important part of your story. And she may not realize how important her childhood is to where she is right now. But helping her see that and unpack that, you may just affirm it and go, man, it didn't sound like your mom and dad loved you, or maybe your dad wasn't around that much. Like, did you feel like your mom and dad loved you and really cared for you and valued you? And having that conversation, I think, will also open her eyes to see maybe what brought her to the position that she's in at that point in time. So as you're thinking about those 5 aspects, I want to read this quote to you from Nancy Pearcey in a book called Love Thy Body that I think really highlights something that Terry's going to point out here in just a second. But here's the quote. It says, "Culture does not treat this biological ability of women to gestate and bear children as a wonderful thing, a capacity to be cherished and protected. We do not treat women's natural abilities with respect. We allow violence against a woman's natural capacities."
Take a look at this ad. And I want to say that this actually was from the UK and it was from several years back. But this is an ad for birth control. But when you look at this, what does this say to you? What are you thinking when you see the high heels and the lipstick or the pacifier? So does it say, hey, if I'm going to be a mom, what are you giving up? And this is one of the things that we loved about doing the live trainings because it was a really great opportunity for discussion. But for me, when I see that, I think, I am not going to be attractive. I'm not going to be sexy. I'm not going to be powerful. I am not going to be fun. I am going to be dowdy and boring and maybe in my pajamas all day with some spit up on me. And so which one would I choose? And this is an ad for women that is pretty prominent, and I think this just goes back to the quote that Bruce just read about what the culture is saying about what it means to be a mom and carry a baby. It is not looked at and celebrated as a natural, wonderful women's privilege that we get to do. It's something that we might have to do.
So the next cloud in the chart that we gave and provided for you about an unexpected pregnancy talks about stressors. And the only point that I really want to make here is this whole list of things that you're seeing is maybe some of the things that you already considered that you know are going on, that maybe you talked to her or him about whenever you met, but think about all the things you don't know. So I think it could be really easy to just come in with a little bit of your own lens to this and like, gosh, like you have an unexpected pregnancy, you're not married, that probably means X, Y, and Z. And so you might be bringing in some biases or some preconceived ideas to this conversation, but not seeing some of the other things that got this woman or man here. So the thing that I would encourage you with is a woman doesn't just wake up one morning and go, I want to have an unexpected pregnancy. A man doesn't just wake up one morning and go, I want to be a part of an unexpected pregnancy. There are decisions that were made throughout their past that led them to that point where they find themselves going, crud, okay, what are the other factors that are involved that we need to consider? And what are the things that we need to be at least aware of that could be in the mix of all that's going on?
One of the things that we often talk about with our team is when someone is in an unexpected pregnancy, it is just an indication of something that was already broken. And so, yeah, you may want to focus on the pregnancy, but there was something that was already broken beforehand, and the pregnancy is just
Another
something.
step in the-
It's just another step in something that's gone on. So when you are looking at all those stressors, some of those stressors were there before the pregnancy happened, and so it's important to look at her as a whole human and not just as someone that's pregnant here in this moment.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. So the next cloud there is coping skills and what skills she might already have. And when I say skills, really it's more of like coping mechanisms. These aren't like good positive things. She's not likely going like, well, I know to do this whenever I feel stressed out. It may be more of like here's what I revert to because this is what I saw in my own family or what my friends did and so on and so forth. And so there may be a perception of just painful situations, a spiritual focus that she has that isn't healthy. That could be like this sort of weird new agey kind of spiritual focus where it actually turns it back on her and she becomes kind of her own God or his own God that has to gain control. Alcohol, drugs, or unhealthy coping strategies like continuing to have sex, or we've had moms, especially in the foster care experiences that we've had, that have said, yeah, I tried to drink myself unpregnant. And so that's not uncommon. There are all these underlying motivations and tools to handle emotions that are not healthy, good tools that are used as coping skills because that's what was modeled for them by others. So you have to keep some of those things in mind as you're working through. So the last cloud is really looking at the support systems and structures, those people that come alongside women and men and go, hey, I'm with you in this. Regardless of what your decision is, I'm here. So one of the things to think about is, do they even have those people? And if they have those people, are those the kind of people that are going to say, hey, let me be truthful. Let me tell you exactly what I think or feel in a loving, kind way, and not back off of that because they feel awkward about the cultural narrative that they may have believed. So where's their family at? Do they have people at their school, whether they're friends and they're in high school, whether they're in college and it's a roommate or an RA in their dorm, or a teacher or somebody that they really respect and is speaking into their experience or their decision making? Is their employer influencing them in any direction? Do they have a church home and people within a biblical community that are supporting them or encouraging them in one way or another? We'd like to think that even in a church that they would find the kind of truth and support that they need to receive, but that may not be the case. Certainly friends and other community resources that might be available to them, we get to step in and manufacture some of that for a time, but we might also go, hey, who else can I connect with in your support network that can help us along this path? Because tolerance can be interpreted as indifference and a lack of support whenever somebody just goes, hey, I'll just support whatever you want to do. As we're thinking about a woman or man support system, I want to read this quote to you from Complications, Abortion's Impact on Women, that was written. Here's what it says. A handful, mainly parents, opposed the abortion and were distressed when it happened. A great number neither supported nor opposed the abortion, but doubtless, thinking themselves to be tolerant and fair-minded, told the woman that the decision was up to her. It might surprise these people to learn that their tolerance was interpreted as indifference and a lack of support. Several women state that if they had received so much as a hug or a word of encouragement when they announced their pregnancy, they would not have gone through with the abortion.
That's so true. I mean, any kind of encouragement goes a long way when someone is feeling like they are at the end of their rope. And so it really goes into helping her with her decision, which is the next point we want to make. So she's pregnant. Is it a pregnancy? Is it a baby? Or is it a problem? And so now that she has acknowledged that, what is her decision? So she has really 3 decisions that she can make. Is she going to opt to get an abortion? Is she going to make the decision to parent, or is she going to make an adoption decision? And so I want to say that our mentoring team, we take everybody right where they are. Our ministry model is yes. If you come to the church looking for support, we are going to say yes. And so if she is abortion minded, of course we're going to continue to walk with her. We're going to encourage her to not do that. And if she were to make the decision for an abortion, of course we're not going to encourage that in any way. But if she still wants to walk with us, we are still going to engage with her. If she makes a decision to parent, of course, we're going to be mentoring with her all the way. And I want to stop and say, if she makes an adoption plan, that makes no difference in our mentoring relationship with her whatsoever. And we have had women that have come through our program that have made an adoption plan, and their mentor has walked with them through that, walked with them through birth and delivery, and through the process afterwards, and offered a great amount of support and encouragement for as long as she needed.
Yeah.
And so just so you know, those 3 things, they don't change our trajectory whatsoever.
Yeah, the only thing I would tack onto that is when we talk about a mom parenting, we want to help her normalize that experience, because there is that sense of like, gosh, I'm the only one who's dealing with this, when nothing could actually be further from the truth. I mean, every single new parent has to go through this sort of like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. Okay, like this is new. I've never done this before. And so we help those moms walk through, whether it's they're dealing with other issues that we need to help them through with the Path to Restoration Ministry, or our Equipping New Parents class, or Square One, or Regen. There are all kinds of ministries at our church to help those moms, to help those dads, and to normalize that experience. And if, again, you're not at Watermark, or you're not in the area where we could serve you, we want to help equip your church, or equip the churches in your area to resource those moms and dads so that they have what they need, and there isn't just that sense of, hey, we're just kind of seeing you through this crisis moment and then we're stepping back. Way more moms are choosing to parent and single parent, even if it might mean co-parenting with a dad that's just not that interested. And that's just become a more common thing in our culture. And honestly, something that, while I want to prioritize families, I want to prioritize marriages, I certainly want to prioritize moms going, hey, I value the life of my child. I understand my role as a mom, before I would go, hey, we don't support single parents, and so, just maybe you should consider abortion. We're going to stand on the truth of what God has designed for parents, and when it's just moms standing in the gap, we're going to make sure that she's supported and cared for.
Absolutely. So in your guide, we were going to look at a case study. So we wanted you to be able to take some of the things that you've just learned and then look at it's a made-up story that we have, but look at what is going on with her story. And we want you to start thinking about, okay, so what are her strengths? What are her weaknesses? What are her opportunities? And what are her threats? So we would like for you to just kind of hit the pause button, pull that case study up, and just start looking at that diagram with the clouds and with all that stuff, and say, okay, how can I funnel this into this this example? And that's just one thing on your path as you're starting to learn what it looks like to be a mentor. And as the other sessions come up, you're going to learn even more about how you're going to be able to identify those strengths and weaknesses and coping skills.
Yeah, so you're halfway. This was the end of session 4. We've got 4 more sessions for you to make sure you're ready to rock and roll. And some stories that you've been listening to along the way. We've got a few more of those, and excited that you're on board with us. Thanks for keeping on.